Welcome to RenderDwell's free course on how to take a photo and turn it into a rendered image. If you want to follow along with us, you'll need a version of Photoshop, which you can get a free trial at adobe.com/Photoshop, or you can go to gimp.net for a free web-based tool that is very similar in tools and just the way it works. You will also want the dining room image and the rug image that I'm going to be showing you throughout the video. We are going to be glossing over all these tools, not going super into depth about how to use each of them because this is a short video for our free version. But if you would like to go to renderdwell.com/course, you can sign up for our 7-lesson course. And there's even an offer there at the end of this video, and we will go into much more detail of the tools in that video. So here we're going to start. We are going to be changing the color of the walls in this video, so that tan color, and you'll see I'm outlining it here. We also want to adjust the color of that paneling on the wall. I'm going to leave the window trim and the door trim, but I'm just going to adjust the color of this paneling. And then after you see that these colors have changed, the rug really needs to be adjusted because that blue and white rug will not match anymore. Then we have to look at some of these foreground objects like the table and chairs, the vase of flowers on the table, and the window. We are going to need to make sure that we isolate some of those foreground objects. So now we're going to zoom in. The first tool I'm going to use is this lasso tool. In Photoshop, you can press the button L and that should bring up your shortcut. There are a few different types of lassos: normal, polygonal, and magnetic. Magnetic clings to the point where two contrasting colors intersect, which is kind of handy. And you can adjust that contrast up in the top, so 40%. You can make it lower, higher, and then you can also adjust the frequency of the points that it's laying down as you move. So higher or lower. But I like using this polygonal lasso because it gives me straight edges, and for most of these architectural renderings or interior renderings, that's all you really need. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to start outlining where, if I'm imagining I'm painting this room, where my termination point would be for that. And so I'm going to go outlining this, and then once I have a portion selected, I don't want to adjust this background image. I want to copy that little part and make it its new layer. Now, as I'm talking about not messing up the background, I'm actually going to make a copy of this background image just to preserve it, just in case something happens, I have that original. I'll just turn it off and I'll lock it so that it's there if I need it. So we'll continue on and pick that next piece of paneling and get that point of termination that we would paint to. And it doesn't have to be perfect because, as you'll see at the end, we can adjust things. As we zoom out, you will see that it's really just to give you an idea of how all these colors are going to look in the space. I'm going to go straight past those flowers because we'll deal with those later. I'm going to go straight past all of the furnishings in the foreground because we're going to deal with that later. And then we just close that outline there. And I'm going to right click again, layer via copy. It will copy that section and make it its new layer. So now we have 1 and 2. And then we're going to have a final one. And I'm going to decide that I'm going to go right below that ledge and just get that lower panel there below the lip on that window ledge. And just close that. Make sure I have the background copy selected as I do my layer via copy. You'll see that I have 3 layers here. Select them all, right click, merge those layers. Again, for in-depth steps and slower steps, you will want our 7-lesson course on renderdwell.com. I'm moving on to the walls. So you'll see I'm going to just start outlining these walls with my polygonal lasso. Outline these. You can go outside of the photo area and there's actually nothing there, and so that's okay if you do that. And now I'm going around the trim, around some of this wainscoting, around some of the nice molding, straight past the flowers. And if you make a line that you're not happy with, I'm not happy with kind of where I place that line because there's kind of a gap below it. You can actually just go straight back across, go straight back, cover it back up the way you went, click, make a point there, and then just go straight back. And that will kind of delete that area that you made a mistake on. That's okay. And then just roughly kind of go around this trim. You are welcome to go in, zoom in, take as much time as you need to get this close, but you'll see at the end that it doesn't really impact the final outcome too much, but you can go in and you can perfect it as much as you want. Again, this outer area, this gray part doesn't get included. And now I've selected my wall section, so I am going to make sure my background copy layer is selected, and then right click, layer via copy. I'm going to rename that wall. I have paneling renamed so I know which one is which. And then I actually need to delete this window from my wall layer because you'll see as I adjust the wall paint, well, I don't want the window to change color. So I'm going to just go carefully, kind of roughly around this trim of the window. And go right past the light. You're welcome to go around the light. I'm going to show you how to isolate some foreground objects, but in this situation, it's not necessary. You'll see at the end, it doesn't really affect the look. And again, this is just for concept for our clients. This is a way to double and triple your fees if you know how to do these tools. So now that I have that selected, I just delete it. And as I turn on my background copy, I have the original window that shows through. Okay, so now I want to go around some of these foreground objects, but you'll see to go around this with a polygonal lasso would just take forever. It would be jagged. So what I'm gonna do is something a little bit different. I'm going to turn off all my layers and we'll start with the paneling layer. And I'm going to go around some of these straighter objects with my polygonal lasso, and I'm gonna make them their own layer so I can put them in front of the wall paneling that I recolor. So you'll see as I do this, but I'm gonna isolate everything that's not the wall paneling. So I'm picking out this chair. I like the polygonal lasso because I can get in and get as detailed. I can even do curves with it. Make sure my paneling layer is selected and then layer via copy. Okay, so I have that. Click my paneling layer again because I don't want to delete this or make copies from the wrong layers. And didn't like that, so I just pressed delete, started that over. Okay, so now I'm going up, I'm going around these chairs. You can zoom in, you can get it close, but I'm going to just, again, you'll see in the end, it all works out. For higher quality renderings, maybe very specific client-specific jobs, very high detail, you are welcome to go and just get as detailed as you want. You could even change the chair colors with these tools that I'm showing you. You can change the vase color, you could change anything. I'm still going around all the furnishings. I'm going to address actually the vase and flowers later because you see they're not really straight lines. It's kind of curvy, organic. So right now I'm just worrying about this table and chairs. So I have that selected as well. Right click, layer via copy. And now I'm going to merge those because remember that was the piece of that chair and that was the table and chair. So I'm going to merge those layers. I'm renaming it so I know what it is. Table chairs. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I need to get this plant isolated. We're actually going to start with our wall layer and get the top portion. I'm actually going to use my marquee tool here. I'm going to teach you kind of how to do that. That just makes a rectangle. So I press the M button, select around this, and then what I'm going to do is actually copy this, layer via copy. Oops, I have the wrong layer selected again. I want wall. Okay. And now, if I turn off the wall, you'll see I still have that area that I selected. Now I'm going to use my magic wand, which selects areas that are similar in color. And depending on this tolerance, if it's a low tolerance, it's picking areas that are closer in color, contrast, everything. Higher the tolerance, it's just selecting kind of everything in that range. So I like it about 20. It looks like it's selecting the right stuff. Okay, and as you hold the shift button and keep clicking, it selects everything in there. And then as I have that wall selected, I am going to just delete it. And I just want to keep the flowers there. And you can use the marquee tool to go in and just delete some of these little scraps there, but that's perfect. So now that's the top of the flowers. Now I'm going to do the bottom of the flowers. I'll use the lasso tool, just select kind of around this. And again, I'm not messing with this paneling layer. I'm actually just like copying it out. So if something goes wrong, just go back and do it again. I'll call it flower bottom. I'm going to turn off everything so I can see. And I'm going to use the magic wand again to just select those wall pieces. And I can go in and clean up with my lasso or my marquee tool, but this is a good place to start. I'm actually going to adjust this tolerance a little bit because it's selecting too much of those flowers that I don't want to select. So I'm going to lower that tolerance so it selects less within that color range. But now I feel like it's causing too much work for me. So I'm going to raise that again to 20. Okay, that'll be fine. You'll see as we go, it doesn't have to be perfect. It still is going to work out great in the end. So I'm just going to select all those areas of the wall and get those all in there. Okay, holding down shift. So you're selecting everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and just delete this. And then I can use the marquee tool or a lasso tool, M or L, to come in, grab these little pieces, okay? Just delete those little scraps. All right, so I have flower top, flower bottom. I'm actually going to just merge them because they're all one thing. Great. Okay, now turn on my paneling, table and chairs, wall, my background. Now the last thing I'm going to do is isolate this rug. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually select just the whole rug area. And I want to make sure my background copy is selected. Layer via copy, select that, rug. And then if we turn off everything else, we can see just that new layer I made. And let's just go through and delete everything that's not a rug. And you're welcome to use lasso, magnetic lasso, polygonal lasso. All of those are just tools to select things. You can use your magic wand, whatever seems to be best. You're not actually changing anything, you're just selecting things and then you're able to copy them, delete them, but we haven't actually changed anything in this image yet. We're just splitting it up into parts and pieces so we can start going in and editing. As you see, as I make mistakes, I just go back, trace over the line I just made, and it just kind of undoes what you did. Okay, so we can go piece by piece. You're piecemealing this whole thing. So I've selected enough here. Oh, we can get a little piece of that rug in there. Now we'll just delete that and then you'll see what's left. There's a couple legs up here. I'm just gonna trace over those little guys and delete them out. And a little bit, one leg over here. Okay, we get that. So everything that's not a rug, we're deleting. You can do the same method with walls. with paneling, with anything. But I'm just showing you different ways to isolate objects, to isolate different areas that you want to manipulate. Turn that background back on. Okay, now we get to the fun part and we get to start manipulating the color. So let's start with the paneling. I'm going to turn this dark. You'll see there are a couple adjustment tools. I'm going to use the hue and saturation to show you that you can make it light or darker. You can mess with saturation here. If you want to turn it a color, you have to click that colorize button, but then you can adjust the hue, the saturation, and the lightness. If I wanted to go some sort of dark teal color, I could do that. But I would like this to be more of a charcoal gray. And now you'll see the contrast isn't great, so I like to adjust that in my levels. And that left one pulls up the black points, and the top one brings up the brightness, and then the middle one is contrast. So I think that looks about right, and then we're going to adjust this wall. I do like the tone of it, but I don't like the how bright that color is. So I don't like that value. I'm going to bring it up a little bit, make that a little darker. It's kind of a nice deeper tan. I like the contrast of that. And now I'm going to go through and decide, maybe I do want that top ledge to be white, just like the windowsill. So what you could do, since you still have that background layer intact, you could just go and delete this part of your paneling layer. You're not messing with anything, you're just deleting it. And you'll see you can just go straight across everything and you're just deleting those parts of the paneling layer. It kind of looks weird now that I have it there. It looks like somebody painted a white stripe in the background. And so I'm actually gonna just undo that because I don't like how it looks. This is so helpful to your clients. If they're like, hey, I want that top ledge to be white, you can be like, well, here's exactly what it would look like if it was white. And you'll see that as we adjusted the color of that wall, it actually didn't really change that light fixture very much. And now the final part is putting in this rug. So I'm going to open this cool rug, and you have this file. I'm going to use my marquee tool and just select with a rectangle that rug, and I'm going to copy that. Okay, and then the way that you can actually select everything in that rug layer, I know it's like jagged, there's all these lines, it's not a straight, perfect shape. So I'm going to show you how you can select just that rug layer. Okay, so I use my magic wand tool and select outside of the rug, and then I go to select and invert the selection. So it selects everything that has pixels and nothing outside of that. Now you'll see I just have that rug selected, and then you can use the paste special paste into tool. Okay, so what that does is it pastes it only into that area that you had selected, and then you'll want to transform it. Again, this is fast. These are expert tools. These are tools that I've been learning for the past 15 years, and I'm going to go into depth about how to use all of this, and I'm going to go slowly. I can actually help you with special walkthroughs of your project, talk through these renderings, and show you all the tools that you will need to make the manipulations that you need for your project. But actually in the transform, I'm going to use the skew tool. That's one of my favorites to give something perspective, because of course we can't just plop a rug straight in there. We have to skew it to the perspective of the room. So we use the transform skew tool and just pull it corner to corner. And then this corner is not showing, so we're just gonna kind of get it so the perspective looks right. You can pull it into that gray space, and I think it looks nice. The only thing kind of fake looking about it is probably the brightness of it. So I'm gonna go back to levels, and I'm just gonna bring that color down a little bit. In my other videos and courses and lessons, you're going to learn how to add shade and shadow. We are doing none of that here. We are not adding shade, no brightness, no darkness. That is a next level step, and that will help bring your renderings to the next level, and I can't wait to go over all of that with you. And the final thing I'm going to do is just create a group from all these new render layers. I'll call it render, so that you can see that before and after. Again, we haven't touched anything in that background copy, but we have only touch things in those render layers. If you want to go back, you want to add new rugs, it's always there in that render folder. So what's next for you? Secrets of the Trade, the 7-course lesson. You can save $50 with promo code VIP50. Go to renderdwell.com/course. You will learn all the secrets that I built RenderDwell off of. My name is Emily Ely, and thank you for taking this journey with us.